Hey everybody, it's Daddy14 2014 PG, and today we're taking a look at the Blackberry Playbook in case you can't see that there. I apologize for any glare that you may encounter, but I will do my best to describe things to you. Remember to like, 2 thumbs up, subscribe, and leave some comments below. You guys have made this journey possible for me, and I continue to do this only because of your ongoing support, and thank you very much. Remember to check out the MediaPurchaseGuide.com, and let's jump right into this Blackberry hands-on. You can see in the background here I have a Sony S1 tablet, and I also have the iPad, and we'll talk about those in a moment. Let's start with the exterior of the Blackberry device. So this consists of essentially a power key on top, and the standard, which is more and more common nowadays on Blackberries. I know you can't see it because the focus is not focusing onto it, but you have the play button, the volume down, and the volume up. You also have your 3.5mm jack, which is standard again, amongst a lot of devices. Now you can see how thin this is. The rear camera is a 5 megapixel camera. It does 1080p recording at 30 frames per second. The front facing camera is a 3 megapixel camera, also does 1080p 30 frames per second filming, so that is quite good. The back has a very silicone feel to it, and the makeup of it itself is actually very sturdy, and it just seems to work for the Blackberry Playbook. I apologize for that noise, or that is my email going off. Across the bottom here, it looks like we have a USB on the first one here, and then here we have the power adapter. It seems like a very similar to the Mac Mini style, or the MacBook Air. Sorry, my apologies, the magnetic. Here you have it looks to be like a micro USB to maybe an HDMI or something. I'm not quite sure on that. The specs internally on this though are a dual core 1 gigahertz processor, so it's not dual core 1.5. In comparison, for a moment, I'm going to adjust the camera here for a second just so you guys can get a better look. So in comparison here, guys, to the iPad, you see how thin it is, and let's just get a perspective with the Blackberry Playbook. So it is quite thin, not as thin as the iPad, obviously, but there's a different kind of build. It's a curvature versus a very squared-off concept. If we take that same thing and compare it to the Sony S1, the S1 is significantly thicker at its highest point, but also significantly thinner at its lowest point. Overall, on the average, I would say they're pretty close to the same, just to get an idea. Now, obviously, it comes with a Blackberry pouch like so that you can pop this into, and again, it's not quite as big as a tablet, but not quite as small as a phone. Kind of similar in reminiscence to a Galaxy Note, for example. This is a 7-inch touch capacitive screen. Keep that in mind, the Galaxy Note runs at about a 5.2. So this does run Blackberry OS 2.0. We'll go ahead and power this on quickly, and the reason why I have it off is I wanted to show you how long of a boot time this takes. So this is actually an LED indicator there for those of you who are wondering. It's a very slow boot up, and that's where the dual core 1 gigahertz comes in. Maybe the dual core 1.5 would have sped that up a little bit. You'll notice that in the meantime. The biggest quarrel I had with this was, people are so used to the Android platform and to the Apple platform that when they actually go ahead and pick up a Blackberry, you're thinking, okay, there's going to be a home key, or there's going to be, one of the buttons, the back buttons and whatnot, and there's not. So when I went into an application, I actually got stuck, and I was like, what do I do? I'm sitting here trying the gestures, 4-finger pinch, and, swiping to the side, and nothing's working. And that was actually one of my biggest pet peeves. What they do, and when you actually learn what it is, how they do it, and I'll show you that in a couple moments. It actually does kind of catch on as you get more and more used to it, but initially, with the market being so saturated with Apple and Android, you don't really expect what they kind of throw at you. The app world, not as big as obviously your App Store and your Marketplace, and you can definitely see how significantly smaller it is. BlackBerry's had some issues on its own. I don't know if they're going to continue to expand that. So I don't know if I can go right out there and say to you guys, this is a phenomenal device and pick it up. However, they have reduced the cost significantly, and this is probably good for someone who's working on the go consistently, needs access to documents on the go, and just something simple to carry around, but not quite as heavy as a tablet, not quite as small as a smartphone, and has more capabilities than a smartphone. You can definitely see the boot up time there, guys. I think we've passed about 30 seconds on that. So quite slow in comparison to, for example, Android tablets or Apple tablets. That even the iPad 2 is faster, and it's obviously a little bit, I believe, older than the Blackberry Playbook. I kind of feel like one of those moments where you're just sitting here going do 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 do. So you can see the display is quite good. They're using the colors of vibrancy. It's an HD display, obviously. So it's standard. I don't want to say obviously out there. It's not like a Retina display like you see on the iPad, or a Super AMOLED display where you see on Android tablets. It's just an HD display, or not even clear black at that matter. I feel like this boot up is just going to take alone half the video. So we're almost over a minute there in the boot up, and you can see how slow that is. Now the performance wise is not as slow as what you're seeing with the boot up. The UI tends to be very soft and it's very fluid and smooth. We're finally into the tablet here. So it does take getting used to. When I first came into the layout here, I'm sitting here holding down on the touchscreen thinking I can add a widget, and you can't. So to get into the notifications or settings, you have all these across the top here. You just tap any one of them and it will give you the different information. So you can see this is running. I don't know if you can see that there. I'll try and focus it for you. Of course, the glare is not helping. Okay, well, it's showing Android, sorry, my bad, not Android, OS version 2.0, so that's exactly what we want to see. So to close the app, you'll just tap that up, or to close the settings, my apologies. This is your orientation, and then you can see here across you have your messages, so you can integrate to your BBM and whatnot, and your Blackberry contacts, your browser, your calendar, your app world, and then you just open up like this, and you can see these are pre-installed apps. Mind you, this is a Rogers version of the tablet, so it's not going to necessarily be the same one in the States. So you have pictures, music, camera, videos, music store, video chat, print to go, NFB, Slacker Radio, Kobo Books, YouTube, podcasts, Adobe, documents to go, file manager, calculator, Bing, and Facebook, Twitter, and help. So we will start with the documents to go and jump into that just to show this, because I think this is going to be one of the most commonly used features by people who are on the go and using this for obviously work purposes. The keyboard is quite fluent. Just to show you, I will type in this is a YouTube video on the Blackberry Playbook. So you can see the accuracy pretty much nailed it. There was no mistakes actually in that, and it was quite nice. It has a very nice feel of the keyboard. You can obviously see that you can do things on the top there like bold and italics and underline. So if you're doing an actual professional document, that obviously is quite good to have that. So you can discard that. When you want to close out the application, just to show you what I was talking about earlier, you actually have to swipe from the bottom up and then hit that X button. And again, it just took getting used to. For the settings, you want to swipe down on the top, and usually that pulls out settings. In this case, it wouldn't do that. We'll jump into the browser, show you a speed test on that. Show you how quick it is, not an actual speed test, but show you how quick it is to load up. So you can choose, obviously, your provider, your Google, your Bing, any of that good stuff. Keep in mind, again, like I said to you, this does use Bing Maps. We'll go ahead here and type in GameSpot. Actually, you know what? Let's type in the media purchase guide. And there we are, your one-stop tech shop for all things tech, E3, all that great stuff. So let's see how quickly this loads in. So there we are, the MediaPurchaseGuide.com, and you guys can't get a good look at that page. Rumors Mill, for example, you get your E3 information and all this fun stuff. So again, you know, not absolutely phenomenal, not as quick as Android tablets, but at least decent. When taking a look at things, for example, like the app world, very similar. If you're familiar with the the App Store or the Android market, it has a very close or similar feeling to the App Store. You can see the games are significantly priced cheaper, 99 cents for 9mm. On the Apple, that tends to be about $1.99 or $2.99, I believe it is. I'm not exactly sure what it's going for now. But for an example here, if you go to the top paid apps, you can see the list doesn't go on for quite long. Well, actually it does here. If I go to apps and I go to top free, the list is not as long here. That's pretty much it. That's as far down as it goes. So you can see it's not as in-depth as other platforms. Again, there are some things I like about it with the fluency and how you close the apps. It does tend to catch on. I know I didn't like it initially at first, but over time it will catch. When you're multitasking, you can, for example, open up the camera, and then you'll take a picture, and then say, for example, I want to close that down. I could just now go ahead and take this and open up the next thing, which I'll do is the music store, and you'll see it will just open up a new, basically, window/tab. Now, the music store, very similar to iTunes as well, kind of a cross between iTunes and maybe one of your other ones like Amazon and whatnot. So you can get into your new releases. You'll see some of the issues that I've had here is I noticed that the pricing can be a little bit higher. It can also tend to be a little bit cheaper. For example, here, an individual song costs $2.29. The media playing and the playback is not as smooth or as efficient as some of the other devices out there. But again, it does a couple little nifty things here and there. I can see this being valuable or invaluable to, like I said, people who are on the go consistently working. But at the end of the day, for the price and where BlackBerry is heading, I don't know if I can offer this when you're comparing to devices like your Android Sony S1, which we have here and we've talked about before. Check out my video if you haven't seen it on that one, or your Apple iPad 2. Just doesn't quite contend and not as smooth and fluid as these devices are. But all in all, good device for the price of $199. Worth a pickup if you're in the market for something BlackBerry or you have another BlackBerry devices that causes a seamlessly integration between the devices and whatnot. Overall, good build, good quality, solid performance, just doesn't stack up to the competitors that you see in the other ones. All in all, this has been a first look or a overall review of the BlackBerry Playbook from Daddy1424. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's time to sign off the only way that I know how. Daddy1424, take care guys. Peace. Love.